Call the meeting to order for PM on SAU83 at 6:33 p.m. on Tuesday, July 23rd. I'm going to stand and do this flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, is a roll call. Grace here.
Brian here. Kit here.
Cole over here. All right, old business. We have two matters of old business. One was the cost of the special town meeting, which I know we're going into.
Which is not part of that. No, it's just, okay, you want me to make copies for you? Sure. Or whatever you do. Our copy machine's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah, it is brand new, yeah.
Yeah, it looks brand new. It's just
I hope you
nice.
really like it. It's here for a while.
I have no complaints.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the handout that I've just given you is
Yes, that'd be great.
essentially an estimate of what we feel it would cost to hold a special meeting. Broke it down into the first session being deliberative, and then the second session, the costs for voting. There's still, several unknowns. We're not certain as far as a facility where we would actually hold the voting, if we would
Right,
actually
here.
hold it at. Right, we have to figure out what place is appropriate, that's not gonna, disrupt.
Right.
Whether it's, the school day, cannot be on a Saturday, I don't believe. So we have to kind of run some of these things through, the school attorney, as well as just some of the mechanics through the Secretary of State's office. Because usually the town gets involved and assists us with doing the ballots.
Right, because the registrars and stuff.
That's
like that.
correct, the checklist needs to be
Yeah.
reviewed.
Right.
So, the estimate for the first session would be $3,170, and then the actual voting for materials and printing of ballots. I included in there police duty, estimated at $65 an hour for a full day. Typically, it's 13 hours, you don't
Right.
post 7 in the morning. So that total would be $1,345, total of $4,515. And then below, I just put a couple of items, working on the mechanics questions
Right.
that we have. Gives you a rough idea.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. The reason why, the reason why we're asking for this is because of the warrant article that won't let us accept unanticipated funds. So if a grant or something were to become available and we wanted to apply for it, we'd have to have, if it wasn't in our budget, we'd have to have a special town
Plus, because we're a focus school,
meeting. Yeah.
there are funds that will be available to us to use, but we won't be able to accept them unless we have a meeting.
Now, would this only apply to, or I should say, if we were to do anything different with having Title I come back in, and because we decided, that we do not have that position any longer, to do that position and take funds in, would this also be a total, would that be added in? I'm just a little confused on how something like that could work.
I'm
If you're
gonna
gonna do it.
ask Andy to take Title I off the agenda for today, but I can address your question. The revenue from the Title I grant is already in the revenues.
Okay.
So it is already there. The position has been eliminated in anticipation of moving some positions around and partially using them inside the building as they exist and applying Title I funds to them.
Okay.
So so the program, this is what I was able to discover in the past 24 hours. The program is not gone. The position as it was is gone. It has morphed into several other positions, yet to be quite determined what that means.
Mhm.
And we'll come back on the 13th with that fully explained.
Okay, okay, great, thank you.
The other, everyone satisfied with this? Okay, the other old business was the cafe contract.
I have not heard back from Bill Van Zandt about the subsidy and his willingness to remove the $8,000 disclaimer off of there. But however, what's kind of thrown me off is that in today's mail, I received their closeout for their 12-13 budget year, along with a $10,000 check. So at one point, I thought we were going to be just about coming in just under the wire and receiving $10,000. So I'm trying to understand, how do we go? We go
He's trying
from
to
one
prepay that
extreme.
subsidy.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
How do we swing how does the pendulum swing from one extreme to another? So, you know, and I'm sorry that I don't have a definite answer for you, but I find it strange myself.
Does that go on this year's revenues or last year's?
Well, it's gonna close out the 12-13 budget,
All right.
right. So,
So I'll go back to the town.
So we're back up.
well, it goes, right, it's supposed to come out as a wash in
Right.
the fund, the budget
Right,
for the food service.
Expenses.
So it's supposed to, so that everything just nets to
Right.
zero and there's no fund balance
Right.
on food service.
Right.
So, please stay tuned, and I hope to have something definitive in writing for you.
It's a better position to be in, though, to get a check and to owe 10,000.
wow, nice. All right. Agenda revisions, you had one?
I just want to remove Title I and move it to the next meeting,
Okay.
when we can have it all figured out and make sense of it.
It also gives us time to read that
Yes.
thing that you sent.
That's the School Boards Association, the first one in that email is very thorough. It's a
Extremely
great-
thorough.
Yeah, it's a great explanation of the program.
Very good. So that's it for agenda revisions. All right, approval of public minutes, July 9th, 2013. Do you have any amendments to those minutes?
I did it all.
Neither did I.
Business, number 4, you could use a U instead of an I,
All right.
typo.
Under the principal's report on page 2, I guess. It says, Mr. Safina said they had a good end of the year, and he thanked Mr. Kohlhofer for attending. I think it was end of the year, graduation, celebration, however you want to put it.
Yep.
Because it was the graduation that he attended.
That's right.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
Motion to accept minutes as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Non-public, do we have to do that in non-public session? Good.
Only if it's sealed, and I haven't looked at them, so.
All right, yeah.
I think only if we have changes, right?
Right. Any changes in non-public minutes? Any changes? People, do I have a motion to accept the non-public minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's good. Next. Okay, board superintendent communications and reports. We don't really have
been only a week.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's great. It's great. I can give you a little idea of what I've been doing, besides drinking from the fire hose. I've been reviewing policy, and I did have a couple of things I brought up to Andy before the meeting. You have 2 policies you need to act on. One is AD, which is a board self-assessment that's supposed to happen in August. So you should schedule how you want to handle your self-assessment. And the other one is the annual review of the strategic plan and the mission statement. And I had suggested to Ida before, we didn't know she wasn't going to be here tonight, that you consider doing a potluck dinner, like before the meeting on the 13th, start at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Work for a while, into the strategic plan, review it, have dinner, work through dinner if you need to, and then have your regular meetings, so you don't have to come out for another meeting. But it gives you enough time you should be able to get through it and review your mission statement. So there was a suggestion that you might want to consider. Okay. If you can make it.
All right, well, we'll have to have we can do that because we can vote on that now, or we can have
Well, I
that
think
online.
I think we should wait just to find out when Ida's gonna be back
All right,
too.
All right.
But she heard the suggestion and thought it was a good idea.
all right,
But, it's up to you when you want to do it.
all right. I think it's a good suggestion.
So that's one thing. I read through the contracts, all the union contracts. There's a lot of typos that need fixing, so I'm going to have to work with the union on fixing typos. And then a couple of deleted words that I was kind of surprised by, so I'll have to fix those. Had several meetings with administration, mostly trying to nail down a few of the decisions that need to be made, particularly Title I. Review files, there's a lot of files to go through. I did some driving through the town to get to know the town, going down the roads and seeing the homes and the businesses and such. I've checked out the House of Pizza. And
Had a taste testing, did you?
very important. The reputation of that place precedes itself, I do have to say.
Yes.
It really does. And I have met the police chief, so I'm looking forward to stopping in to meet the fire chief sometime this week.
Is that the new police chief?
And Danny?
No,
Yeah.
he's
So he's,
the
interim.
interim.
Okay.
They've hired someone to
Did
replace
they?
him. Yes,
Okay.
did.
Couple
All right,
weeks.
so I met the former police chief.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, he had to be the new one.
You'll meet the new one soon.
Yeah.
Okay, as soon as he comes on board, but I had the present one.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much the week as it stands at this point.
All
So.
right.
So one of the things I noted, just so you know, on the SAU website, the superintendent email link is still goes to Michelle.
Okay, I did email Carla about that.
Okay.
I will make sure that gets taken care of. Thank you.
So Carla has started.
Yeah. Yes, she has.
Oh, good.
Yes. Email link on the website. Yeah.
Now, we also got a notice today from John about that they canceled the
Science,
The science workshop,
Yeah.
yes. Michelle was supposed to run that. So, I didn't know what her intent was or what her plan was, or even if I could do it, so I kind of put a kibosh on it. So we've been talking about building goals for the year, the expectations. What I'm hoping and recommending, and John seems to be very comfortable with it, is,
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, we can get
science, curriculum mapping,
yeah,
right, work session that was supposed to happen in
Okay.
August and learn now.
They've done some of it. apparently, but not all of it for people who know. And they need to finish it up. But that was one of the first things John asked. He said that Michelle was completely running it, and he had no idea what was supposed to happen, so I'm kind of in the dark about it. But we can pick up and get going. My thoughts about having Curriculum Connector now and getting the curriculum into Curriculum Connector is using diary mapping as opposed to core mapping, because it requires that the teachers get in there every week. They get to know the software very well. They start to use it a great deal. And we would make sure that math was put in, right? That would be the big thrust this year, is to make sure that math is in, because the Common Core is going to be changing everything in the year. And people who teach singletons like music and art and phys ed and things like that would just do that. In the upper levels, if they're specialized in one course, they would do that. But there are two approaches to Curriculum Connector. One is to get together and write a core map and then embed it in diary map. The other one is to diary map and then build your core map. Diary mapping just requires that the teachers enter what they do. What do you normally do? What are you doing every day in your classes? And so you can look back and reflect on what you do. Pick out your it's all tied to standards. You can go back and look where your how many standards, how many times you taught a particular standard. If was it enough, is it reflected in the kneecap as being well done, or is it weak? An example I think I was giving you today was the measurement. One district I worked in that we diary mapped at the end of the year, we looked at our scores, and our measurement in math was very poor. And so we did a search in Curriculum Connected for how many times the standard on measurements had been taught, and we found that it had been mostly missed because it was the end of the textbook and at the end of the year. Bingo, you know. So we moved it into the earlier part of the year, spread it out through the year, touched upon it, and the scores took a big jump next year. So simple things like that you can do with the diary maps. So John seems to like that idea, but we haven't completely formulated the goals for the year. We're in conversation, so we'll be bringing that to you. So it's just, but that was kind of how I had to respond to it at this point.
Yeah, we talked about being becoming a STEM school.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I think that's why she was looking at science first.
Right. I would go for math.
Yeah.
Because right now the testing is in math and you want to get the scores up. I would anchor that.
Mhm.
But there's some great work that's been done in science, and we'll make sure that that continues to happen. So we'll take it out.
That's it.
So yeah, that's kind of my report for the week.
All right. Information items.
I have some information for you, since you're looking at me.
What is that?
I am stepping down from the manifest, and Tammy has agreed to take it over.
All right. Do we need to
So-
vote? Oh, no, I can just, right. We don't need to
I
vote
will
on that.
be teaching her in the next one, and then if I can't teach her, I will be teaching her how to do it, so I just wanted to let you guys all know that.
Okay, so Tammy, we got this.
Very good.
Okay.
So I have something, I don't know if it's the right place for it, but I give an update. Lego Club.
Oh, Lego.
So we have the 2 teams finalized. In total, we have 17 kids that joined. We have 2 teams finalized. We started receiving some of the gear yesterday.
Tell me what?
Some of the Lego gear. We started
Oh.
receiving yesterday,
Oh.
so for the next couple of weeks, we'll start receiving the rest of it. I talked to so the coaches are gonna be meeting. I forget their names, I gotta look it up. I always forget their names. I'll butcher the name. Me, Carrie, Sabluski, Sablus. I always.
Oh, Sabaluski.
Sabaluski, there
Yeah.
you go. Sorry,
Yeah.
Karen. Jennifer, Raineen, and Rose McDougal.
Rose McDougal, nice.
So we're gonna be coaching the teams. We're gonna get the kids together this summer. Hopefully, just introduce each other one and start it going. So it's going, making progress. So thank you, the board, for the money for the second team.
All right, good.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Any more information items?
Anything from the selectmen?
Oh, I'll be meeting with them in September.
Didn't you just do
I've met with them about something else. I met with them about setting up an economic development committee,
that?
which they were for. So, which I will probably be the chairperson of, so we'll see. But, you know, so we're moving ahead on that. So I met with them a couple weeks ago with school board stuff. I mean, the big issue as far as, we had the emergency management person has been promising for over a year to pursue a grant for us to purchase a generator. And nothing's happened.
Okay.
So I began pushing on that, saying, you know, if she can't do it, we surely, you know, maybe we should do it. You know, maybe the school should, and we could have, you know, it's $65,000. That, it's already been priced out.
Uh-huh.
Scott Brown already priced out what the cost of a generator, everything else like that, so it's all, we already know. But it's gonna cost about $65,000, I think, to get a generator to install it.
Mhm.
And then the question would be whether we wanted to be act as a shelter.
Emergency center, yeah.
And then we have to go out and do the FEMA training. You did that, I did part of
They
it.
did that, so you better hurry up.
Yeah, so, but that,
I think I'm the
yeah.
only one that did that.
Because there's really, right now, there's no place in town that can use the shelter.
Uh-huh.
There's the only place we have is the safety complex, and that's active during an emergency. It's very
Absolutely.
active, so it's not a good place to have people and coming over using shower and stuff, because it's, and then we'd have to look at we'd have to look at the school, because, you know,
We
because
don't have showers.
we don't have showers.
Yeah.
You know, do we get a grant that would allow us to build a shower? Do we porta potties?
Right.
Well, how do we do that? So, but we haven't even reached that point yet. First, we gotta figure out how to get a generator. And the whole idea is, the idea is trying to apply now so we can put it in the budget for next year.
Right.
But I just don't think we can, I just don't see.
Does she have the form, or, you know?
She just said she'd look into it, and I brought it up again to the
It's been 2
selectmen.
years.
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
It may not even be available anymore.
Yeah, so, but it'd be something to look into.
Who's the emergency person?
Joyce, it's Joyce, right?
Right, Joyce.
Joyce Booker Janvin.
Yeah,
How do you spell that?
Booker, B-O-O-K-E-R, hyphen Janvin, J-A-N-V-R-I-N.
yeah. Her husband used to be the police chief,
Okay, all right.
so,
Branch.
all right. So that's, and basically I just tell them about, you know, what's happening in school, and, you know, test scores and disciplinary, all that other stuff we talked about. So. And the other thing that, we're still waiting for them to purchase their video equipment.
Mhm.
They're purchasing, like I said last time, they're purchasing an extra set that we could borrow and use.
Mhm.
And they're also very interested in our use of YouTube, and I think they're gonna go on YouTube too. So which is pretty good. But they were supposed to have talked to Scott about setting up a modulator or something like that in Alice School.
Oh, yeah, repeater?
Yeah, repeater, yeah, Comcast was
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
So I don't know if they've done that yet or not.
okay.
What was going on. Yeah, so.
Okay, oh, yeah,
All right, so it's all, the school's wired.
okay.
The school's wired for the SAU is what the school is.
Okay.
The wire is put stuff on cable, but we just don't have the equipment.
For the
Okay.
live feed,
For the
right?
live feed,
Okay.
we're all wired for the live
Is there a
feed.
local channel around here?
22.
22. And what's happened is they said that they will no longer accept our videos that we're sending them.
So,
So we
okay.
have a blank channel right now.
We have a blank feed.
Yeah, blank feed.
Okay.
So that's for that, okay. Oh, yeah, is that where we do our committees? Okay. Publicity committee. I talked to John, part of me meeting with him soon about putting together a presentation with respect to the town. The
We're
curriculum.
gonna have that live feed.
Yeah.
We can do it
Yeah,
right there.
I know.
Hit the whole town at once.
Well, we get the live feed by the time, well, if the curriculum committee's moving ahead, I'll be writing up a letter and sending out to people on the committee
You still
for
doing that?
approval.
Spaghetti dinner.
Yes, we're still doing it. It's, September 18th. I told the selectmen to be there. If they're gonna be invited, they better come. And so we're moving ahead with that. It'd be great if we had the video equipment up. We could live feed. So the curriculum committee's moving ahead. We've got 2 questions that is for the groups. Basically, we're gonna have a spaghetti dinner. We're gonna have a public, there's gonna be a tour of the school. There's gonna be a little presentation of the school, what we're doing, how we're doing. And then we're gonna break out into groups. Each group will focus on, and groups will be, a student, an elderly person, a teacher, a parent, a past parent. We'll try and get every demographic in each group. And then there'll be 5 questions that they will address. And we've got 2 that people kind of agree on, but the other 3 were kind of up in the air. So we'll finalize those in August. We're meeting 3 times in August.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks to get this done, so. And the budget committee hasn't met, right?
We met.
All right,
The policy committee hasn't met.
all right. And the PTA, all right. Okay. That's it for public input.
No.
Not paying information out. Public input, anyone sign up to talk? Okay.
I'm Jody Donahue.
Hi.
It was about Title I. So should I just wait till, come to the next meeting?
What's this? What do you want to talk? Oh,
Title
I.
I, I didn't,
Oh,
I
okay.
came in April and, that was after it was brought up that it may be cut.
Right.
And Ida said, asked Ms. Landon to please get with me at the end of the year and let me know what was happening, if it was cut, what was gonna happen, if it wasn't. So apparently it's been cut, she's no longer with us. I did email Dr. Cox-Buteau,
Cox,
Dr. Cox,
that's easy.
yesterday, and we were emailing back and forth, so I'm sure I was part of the fire hose. And, so I guess my question now is, it's been cut, so what will happen? Will there be something for the children? And I don't understand why we would not accept a grant. And I know that there's this whole big thing of that,
Right.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
and I don't know, I just like, we're
I
a
can
town in
explain
need of
that
so
to you.
much.
Yeah.
And
Because there was a warrant, I don't know if you remember the warrant, that
Yes.
talked about 198.2, I think it was, or
Yeah,
something.
2 years ago.
It came through as a petition warrant article 2 years ago from some community members to eliminate that, and it passed.
to
That-
eliminate all grants, or?
No, what it means is, it eliminated we had put a warrant article on that allowed the school board to accept unanticipated monies without having a meeting. The petition article canceled that because it passed. It canceled that warrant article. So this past year, we put another one out there to, allow us to accept unanticipated monies. It did not pass. So because it did not pass, we are not allowed to accept unanticipated funds unless we have a meeting. And that means we need a deliberative session, we need to have a poll vote, just like we do. And so what happens is, if we don't know that there's grant monies out there, like when we planned our budget last December for next, for this year that we're going into, we didn't know we were gonna be a focus school. We didn't know there was gonna be federal funds available to focus schools. We were just designated a focus school the last week of June.
31st of June.
June, yeah.
June 30th.
So we didn't know that we were gonna be designated a focus school, and we did not know there were gonna be funds available, so we do not have those as anticipated monies in our budget, which means we cannot accept them and we cannot use them unless we have a special meeting.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is weigh the cost, and we're looking at least $4,500 for a special meeting that it's gonna cost.
Right.
So we have to weigh, are we gonna get enough grant money in to make it worth spending the $4,500?
Out of general funds.
There was another example in June where the teachers had a conference they can go to, and they were going to get $10,000 for them to go to, for their
For
expense.
professional
We
development.
couldn't accept that either, so they couldn't fund that in Keene State.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
With something like Title I though that we've had in the past, I don't understand how come that's just not something that just keeps
Well,
rolling.
we can accept
You know what I
Title I
mean?
money, because that's in the budget.
Oh,
But
okay,
let's say if we saw a grant for improving athletic facilities.
right,
Which there are.
okay.
We couldn't apply for that and accept the money without having a special town meeting because it wasn't anticipated funds.
Right.
If we build into our budget next year, grants that we want to apply for, which we could do, I suppose, we could look through the grants available, say, we like to apply this, and this, and this, and then put it into our budget, then we could accept the money.
If you get it.
If we get,
And
if
if
we
you
don't accept,
don't, you're in trouble.
yeah,
Right.
we know we're in trouble, because then we got revenues and that's a
Yeah.
mess.
Right.
So we're kind of in a bind. If it's money that we've anticipated that's in our budget, yeah, we can take it. But if it's not in our budget, if someone were to come and give us, you say, here's $10,000 to do this, we'd have to have a special town meeting.
What
to
is the
accept the money.
reasoning, I mean, this is new to me too,
All right.
just coming on board, what is the reasoning that the town does not want you to, or I should say, what's the negative part of the reason that?
I think part of the issue is that people, to be honest, people didn't trust the school board.
From being on the budget committee, that's what they talked about, they don't want, I forget who talked about, but they explained that if the school got money, they wanted to know what the money was, and they wanted to have a say in how that money was spent. Just go back to the town, or does the
Right.
school get that money to
All
spend?
right, well, we have to go, we have to go.
Because even if we have a special meeting, it doesn't mean we're gonna be able to accept the money, they could vote it down.
Right,
And that's what it is, it's the community saying, oh, okay, you want this, X amount of dollars for this, and the community will say yes or no, whether we can have it or not.
right.
So, we could go to a special meeting and they could say no.
Yeah, it's a.
Now, wouldn't a grant though be specific to what
The grant.
it is, or
Exactly.
you can get a grant money for an athletic field, but can you sometimes get grant money and do something else with it? Is that what they're, so then why, I don't understand.
Only if it's in the budget that we propose, we can accept the money. But if it's not in the budget, let's say we have a budget of $11 million, all right? And that's what we propose, and we're gonna have $11 million in revenue, we're gonna have $11 million in expenditures. By law, we cannot spend $11 million on one. We can't do it, it's illegal. Unless we go to the budget committee, they have to approve it, and then they have to go, then goes for the State Board of Ed, and they have to approve it. Just overspend your budget. And it doesn't matter whether you're overspending it in expenditures or you're overdoing it in revenues. It doesn't really matter. Because they see this, if we say we're gonna have $1 million in revenues, well, if we have $1.010 million, I mean, unanticipated, and I mean, if the town taxes, we get more town taxes than we expected, then that's nice. But we can't go out, but we can do that because it's already in the budget that we've received that money. But we can't accept money from a source that wasn't identified in the budget. You see, we can accept money from Title I, we can accept money from town tax revenues, we can accept money from state revenue sharing. We can accept money from, what do you call them, in homes and stuff like that, or so you're thinking of that. You get like $24,000 revenues from that.
Impact fees.
Impact fees.
We can accept money from impact fees, because that's all in the budget. But if we don't identify a source in the budget for revenue, we can't accept that money right now without a special town meeting.
So are you guys, you're looking into that, or you think you just wait till next year, or?
No, we're looking into it because of this being designated a focus school. We're gonna be slated for some money from the federal government, we don't know how much yet.
You do, it's $25,000.
Okay, so it's $25,000, I didn't realize that, but, so we started looking into it because we wanted to know how much is it gonna cost us to have a special meeting to be able to then accept this money.
So we'll have to spend $4,500 to get $25,000.
Right.
And would the warrant article be for 1 year, or just we could keep it if we get
No,
it
it
going
would,
for 1 year?
actually, it would be,
Well,
if this special meeting would be,
Just for that.
are we allowed to accept the $25,000 from the federal government for this purpose, yes or no? So hopefully, if we have more of that coming in, we can hit it, put everything in one meeting, But these are the consequences, if you will, of having that warrant article not pass, is that we can't accept the funds, which, would offset the taxes, would help the kids, so.
The other thing, probably you had a question about the about the Title I money. I think Betsy probably could answer that.
Yeah, the Title I money that has been used in the past, they anticipated it coming again this year. It has been put on the revenue side. They eliminated the position because there were plans to use those funds to reassign some people in the building and have them perform the services for the students that have always been performed. So that their services will be there.
Oh, okay,
It's just that that person is not going to be there delivering.
okay, it'll be with a different person.
Yes. Now, that's about $41,000 this year, but there's also $5,000 that goes along with that, that is money to be used as a focus school, as a small startup grant for focus schools. And then the commissioner has let the focus schools know at the orientation last week that there will be $25,000 available. This all comes under Title I. Focus school money is Title I money.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
it's
then
Title
we don't need
I.
a meeting.
It is 1A.
Do we?
Yes, you do, because it was not anticipated revenue. You
But I thought
anticipated
it was
45.
only if it was an unanticipated source.
It's not the source, it's the amount as well. So we anticipated 45. So we can accept 45, anything more than that, we cannot accept.
That's only the
Yeah.
source that was unanticipated.
So we'll have $25,000 available to us, but we can't use it unless
So
we
we
get the
need
vote.
to
So
get the vote.
we're looking at getting 45,000+, the 45 plus to $25,000.
No, we can only get the 45.
We can only accept the 45 because that's what's in our budget.
45,000 or 45,000?
45,000. If you look in the revenue side of the budget, you'll see Title I listed and 45,000 in anticipated revenue. That's up to the much as we can take.
Well, I think, I don't know, but I think you meant the 45 that we already have,
Yeah.
and then on
Plus
top of that,
25
plus the 25.
Only if we have the meeting and.
Right,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yes, that's what I meant. Thanks for the second.
Is that would be correct, right?
We can take
45.
45.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what's been used in the past, and that is what we'll be continuing to use to service the students. It'll just be serviced differently. But the 25.
So are we already guaranteed that 45?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an entitlement grant.
Yeah.
Entitlement, these are all entitlement grants, that all you have to do is write the grant, you get the money, as long as what you write it
Okay.
for fits the,
So
what they want you to
these
say.
are a benefit to try to get them from.
Yes, but it'll cost you $5 to do it,
Mhm.
but you can't spend the grant money to do it.
Right.
You have
Yeah.
to spend general fund
Yeah,
money, so
that's right,
somewhere we
exactly.
have to find the $4,500 in the general fund to do it.
Potluck dinner,
There you go.
right?
To raise the money. Well, poll tax.
Can't.
There you go.
Can't raise the money, it's not our revenue.
That's true.
No, but we have $4,500 in the tuition
Well, actually,
line.
you know where we might be able to get the money from?
It's in the tuition line.
No, we
Select-
might be, no, from that, one of our trust funds.
No, it's in the tuition line,
You'd have to have a public hearing.
yeah.
No,
Figure it out.
we are the trustees. We don't-
Right, but you still have to take.
We have to have a public
You
hearing.
have to have a public hearing. Yeah.
Right, not the
It's
one.
not a vote, it's a
the one
public
with 12,000, the frost fund. That's for education purposes.
To be determined.
No, that's not, it's for a town, that's right.
This
that's
is
not-
for a meeting, that's
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
yeah.
But you're all on board with trying to get it? Is
Yeah.
that-
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
a good thing?
Yeah, I am.
All right,
All right,
I can speak for me.
all right, thank you.
As
all right.
long as it makes sense that the revenue is gonna offset the expense by, to make it worthwhile, then absolutely, why not?
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes.
Kathy Schreiber. I apologize, I wasn't here when we got designated as a focus school. Can someone just tell me what the requirements are to be a focus school? Is it like NEWA scores or NECAP scores or?
Betsy.
How the designation happens?
Yeah.
Under the waiver, which is a 2-year waiver, they wiped out AYP,
Okay.
and schools will no longer have SUNY Indian plans, and there will no longer be any designation of AYP. Instead, what they did for the federal government's desire to continue to improve schools, is that it identified the bottom scoring 10% of schools to be priority schools. Those schools will receive special help from the state and funds to go with it. Then they also identified 10% of these schools that have the largest gap between their selective group, which in our case is special education, and the scores of the rest of the students. So we have a big gap here in Fremont, so that gap has to be raised for us to get out of being a focus school.
Okay.
So that's how that happens.
And we have 2 years to do that?
It's actually gonna take longer than that, but you have to have, it's an interesting question. You have to have less of a gap than 10% of the bottom of the schools for 2 years in a row to get out, because your schools have to do worse than you.
Okay.
So potentially, if everybody gets better, you will always be a focus school.
Great.
Let's just hope we
Thank you
bring
so
our
much.
bottom people up
That's
and not our
helpful.
top people down to close that gap.
Okay, thank you, that's very helpful.
Good.
All right, is that it for public input? Yes? Okay, thank you very much for your input, we appreciate it very much. Now to action items, I think we have to go in private, non-public session for the social studies nomination?
That's usually done in public session.
Okay, we can do that, okay.
Okay.
So we have a nominee for social studies.
That's correct. We are nominating Martha Abney for the position of social studies teacher in grades 7 and 8. She comes to us with a master's, and this is her first year teaching, so we're putting her on the NAM1 staff.
Is she highly qualified?
Yes, she took the praxis in social studies and she passed. So she is a highly qualified social studies teacher.
What is the practice?
If you already have elementary education or some other certification and you want to teach a different subject, you can become highly qualified in several ways. One, you can have 30 college credits in that area, which is a lot of time and a lot of money. You can go on a plan to become qualified, or you can take a test called the praxis in your subject area. And if you pass that, you are highly qualified. And she did. She studied for it, she passed it, and therefore she's highly qualified.
I have just one more question. And she's certified to teach,
Elementary ed.
but is she only certified to teach to 6, or is she certified 7th and 8th? Because I know a lot of our elementary are K through 6.
I'll have to check. But she should be, yeah, she should be.
Yeah, certifications.
So, yeah, social studies 5 to 8, so she's all set. Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the nomination?
Motion to accept the nomination.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
And the Title I is off the agenda.
Now, she's a substitute, or is she opening, will there be a para position open? I can't
There's a
remember what
para
her
position
last-
open.
Okay, now on to transfers.
Scroll right here. Let me just pull up the summary. And bear with me. These are just a few transfers for the 12-13 budget with their purpose of transfer.
So these are the final transfers for fiscal year 13, is that correct?
Yes, I do, we're getting there. I think for the last year, we really spent a lot of time trying to make certain things were properly codified so that the object codes for what its purpose was actually for. So,
Now, one thing about electricity, we signed a contract with a new electricity vendor that was supposed to save us money.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, we did, remember?
I'm wondering if the town did.
I thought we voted to go in with the town
I
too.
thought we did too.
Yeah, we
I'm
did. We
sure.
voted to go in with the town to take whoever was servicing the town was gonna service us. That never happened?
I don't recall that.
I think it was before you were here.
Yeah.
That happened that was before you came here.
Oh, okay.
That
I've
was-
never actually had any correspondence with the town or anything like that, reaching
All right.
out. Right now, we're working collectively on the oil bid, but
Right.
never any mention about electricity.
All right.
Certainly
We
doesn't
should
mean
find
we
out
can't.
if the town's actually saving money.
Right. because it looked like we
Right,
are, 'cause we're
exactly.
spending
They
our
went with a
$10,000 more than we expected.
Third party.
I mean, it's not
You
bad.
really, the only, there's several accounts for that building,
Mhm.
and the only one is the large account that's really gonna qualify.
Right.
And it may not be worth it, but it's something that, bidders would take a look at and determine if it's worth it. So I will certainly reach out to the town administrator.
Right, because I really thought we voted to accept, to go into the same thing that they had, and they had voted to accept, like, I don't know, was it Granite State, wasn't Granite State Electricity or
You've
something?
got in Terraces
one of
is
those,
one,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was one of the people providing, I mean, it was before they went to private, giving it to, offering it to individuals.
Okay.
Right.
I'll motion to approve the transfers as presented.
Have a second. No second?
Oh, I thought you said you sang, I'll second it.
No,
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Any discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. And if I'm not mistaken, that's it, isn't it?
That's the end.
The end. Oh, I know.
Unless you want to just, if there's any agenda items you want to name now for the next meeting?
Right. Well, there's gonna be a policy You guys be having a policy committee
Yeah, we
before
have-
this?
Yeah,
meeting?
we will,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll be doing the policies, which always
Okay.
takes 50 pages.
We'll try and make sure it isn't too overwhelming.
Yeah, then we have to decide how we're going to do our strategic plan and then do the
Self-assessment.
self-assessment. So, which, without our chairperson here, we kind of, I really don't think we do that right now.
One of the things that we
Usually we
did
do it first.
finish up last year
Yeah.
was we did, me and Jason did some work on the web server, and there's some upgrades that have to happen.
Mhm.
So it'd be worth talking about them, or I can talk to you about them, and then you can relay them to Carl, or if you want, I can just talk to Carl about
You're
them.
welcome to talk to Carl,
Okay.
and, yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so I'll talk to Carl, and we'll get something out to the board, and you want just,
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about the website, there's some work that could be done.
yeah, there's some OS upgrades that need, for security reasons that have
Reasons,
to
yeah,
happen.
okay.
We also had plans of doing internal security assessments of the school network over the summer.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's Carl is just too small, if we want to push that out to another break, but it's something we've talked about before, so.
Sure. Talk to Carla, it's fine with me, so.
And one thing that might be on the table, I don't, did the teachers put in the request for contract negotiations yet?
I haven't seen any paperwork,
All right.
and I haven't received anything since I've come.
Have they reorganized their executive board, you know?
No, I don't know.
Because that's what we were waiting for, they were gonna wait till they reorganized.
Yeah, it's on my list of contacts this
Yeah.
week is to get a hold of the union presidents and have a
We were
chance
just
to meet with them.
hoping to start that
Yeah.
earlier rather than later, because it ends up that it comes down to the wire when
Wire,
you're trying to get it ratified and get everything ready for the meeting and.
Right, but, yeah, I would like to have a non-public session so the school board can talk about what we'd like to see in the contract.
Okay.
No, not tonight, no, because I was.
This is agenda building.
Yeah,
Okay.
agenda building, not
Contract.
tonight, I was.
Okay. And we're having Title I, of course.
Right.
So we'll update you on Title I and on the focus school and all of that stuff.
Right,
Okay. And I think that's.
is that it?
When's the next meeting?
August 13th,
The 13th, okay.
all right, 6:30, or actually, if we meet beforehand, it'll be.
There'll be a working session though.
Maybe a working session,
Yeah.
so. All right, so with that,
Motion to adjourn?
hang on a second,
Second.
all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.